Ugh. Looks like I made it to the surface. I'm still alive. But what just happened? Did the transport spell fail? No, it had to be something more than that. An impact like that was not the result of a mere accident. Is that? Indeed, it's a rhoda tree, a tree of a soul, born of the goddesses. I suppose that explains why this is the only place around that's not thick with poison gases. Still, it's a miracle this tree managed not only to survive, but to thrive all this time amidst such desolation. Young man. That voice! Rhoda, is that you? Indeed. I am one of the twin rhoda trees given life by the goddesses. You are from East, are you not? Yes, that's right. My name's Hugo, Hugo Fact. Oh, a descendant of House Fact. That explains the power I sense from you. It has been many years since I last spoke with one of your line. Perhaps around 50 or so. I don't mean to be rude, but I don't really have time for idle chatter right now. I'm here in search of Lady Rhea and Lady Fina. Have you seen either of them? They've actually found a trace from Solomon's Shrine a few days ago, and no one's heard from them since. The goddesses? Yes, I did catch sight of them. About 3 days ago. So it's true then, they came down to the surface. Do you know where they went? And if they're alright? I cannot answer the latter question, I'm afraid. But I do still sense their presence, albeit faintly. There can be no doubt they're inside that foul tower. I was afraid you might say that. That tower is said to be a veritable nest of demons. What the hell could those two want in a place like that? You are going after them then? I sense that your companions are not far from here. Perhaps you should regroup first. No, I must go now. There's not a moment to lose. If the others come here, please let them know that I gone to the tower. Tell them that's where the goddesses can be found. My, such an impatient lad. Then he is of the fact line. I just hope my worries are for naught. What's that? Curses, we're surrounded! Dino, Aeolia, can you handle the beast on your side? I think so. We'll be fine as long as we can erect a stable barrier. Alright, you two do your best to fend them off until I can jump in. I'll handle the demons over here as quickly as I can. What? Hugo Fact, is that you? Glad to see you in one piece, Father. I'll take care of these beasts. You go help the others. Much obliged. Alright, you two. Let's take these things down. Yes, Father. Understood. How dare you filthy beast tread upon our land? If power is what you seek, then allow me to introduce you to my eyes of fact. Tutorial time for the uninitiated. If we use the left face button, Hugo's attack is a bolt of energy that shoots out from the eyes of fact, so we are a ranged character. The lower face button, which is B in this case, will allow us to jump. If we jump while we're shooting, we just shoot it while in midair. And if we attack immediately after coming to a stop, we'll launch a powerful bolt of energy on enemies that may randomly lower the target's defense. His gameplay style is very different from anything you might have experienced in the E series before. We are a ranged spellcaster squishy character. So we stay far away and we sit there and just keep shooting things like crazy. Be nice if I had a turbo controller, but I don't, so we're just gonna have the experience of how it is by just spamming the button constantly. Either way, again, just stay far away from enemies and just keep shooting. It might be slightly easier in the fact that we don't have to get in things' faces, but since we are squishier, we can take a lot of damage and just kind of die really quickly. So again, just keep shooting from far away and you'll get rid of things pretty dang quickly. But now that we got those done, let's talk about boost. Boost mode, if we use the top face button, will enhance our abilities. In this case, we'll summon more Eyes of Fact and do a lot more damage because we have just a bigger range of attack. But we also get a defensive enhancement because we take about half as much damage. So we're pretty much just a powerhouse if we activate this. When you have boost mode, it's probably in your best interest to activate it with Hugo because it allows you to just wipe the floors with enemies so quickly. Is that all you got? I heard there were imposing creatures amongst the invading demons, but it seems these were not they. Much appreciated, Hugo. Father Shion, and you two are? I'm Aeolia, an acolyte of Solomon's Shrine. Thank you for your help. I too serve as an acolyte. The name's Dino, and you're Hugo Fact, it would seem. I've heard a lot about you. They say you're a magic prodigy, and from what I've seen here, I'm quite convinced they're right. No, I'm still but a novice. At any rate, may I ask why you three are here? And where are the other members of the search party? I wish I knew. All I can say for certain is that the transport spell which carried us here was interrupted. Interrupted? By the demons, you believe? Most likely, yes. Aeolia and I were the ones controlling it. Then suddenly, out of the blue, the magical barrier which held us was struck by some massive force. Because of such disruption, we could no longer hold the spell together. I see. And the attack came from this tower, I assume. It did. And that's why we're here, to get to the bottom of this. But what of you? What brings you to this accursed place? Ah yes, well you see. Hugo detailed what the road tree had told him. What? The goddesses? Here? What could have compelled them to come to such a dangerous place? So that's the size of things, is it? This makes matters more urgent. We must get in contact with the others as soon as possible. Can I leave that up to you, Dino? Yes, Father. I'll begin the search of the perimeter, starting with the rota trees. And what will you do? Given the welcome we received, I think it'd be prudent to wait until the whole party's been gathered, then move out as a group. No, I believe it will be best if I were to go on ahead and survey the area alone. If the rabble we just fought was the worst this tower has in store, I don't anticipate any difficulty. As you wish, but please do take this with you at least. Received crystal. An item of magic. Allow me to demonstrate its power. Was this built by the demons? We had initially thought that to be the case, but it would seem not. Watch closely. Shion took out a crystal identical to the one he gave Hugo. The crystal's power purified the demon statue. It's a goddess statue! I suspect that all the goddess statues left behind on the surface were brought here, then cursed in a similar fashion. Why this was done, one can only speculate, but there are likely others to be found in here. Should be able to use that crystal to purify them, just as I've done with this one. I see, that could prove beneficial indeed, given the power of these statues. But that isn't the only magic the crystal holds, it would seem. Indeed not. It could also be used to transport you instantly to the foot of any goddess statue, at least any that's been purified in this manner. I pray that it'll be useful in your reconnaissance. Understood. I'll be sure to make good use of it. Take this as well, Hugo. Received Lila Shell. And this would be for long-range communication, no? Yes, it will allow you to contact us, no matter where you are. I intended to give one to each member of the search party upon our arrival, but obviously those plans were disrupted. Indeed, a very useful tool to have, though. I'll keep it safe. If that's all, then I'm going to head up into the tower proper. We'll be waiting here for the others. Come back if you find anything. And remember, the demons built this tower, so there's no way of knowing what awaits us here. Please, exercise caution. Alright, time to head on up. The goddess statues actually act as our save point, as well as the ability to accept divine blessings. So, if we click on this menu, you actually can see that we can strengthen our abilities based on how much SP we have. Those enemies we killed, they dropped a bunch of purple gems on the ground. Whenever we pick those up, we get more SP. Just find more of those, and you'll be able to level up your abilities. The abilities menu kind of looks a little bit debuggy in a sense, but trust me, you'll want to get as many of them as possible because it will make your experience through this game a little bit easier. But let's get started into the Wailing Blue. With Hugo, like I mentioned, you definitely want to stay farther away from enemies because he definitely does not have like the stats to really back it up. He's kind of a sorcerer, kind of a little bit spongy at level 1. Defense of 36, strength of 46. So pretty much all you really got to do is just kind of focus on attacking things from farther back. It's actually kind of nice to just be able to just kind of sit back and just kind of just sit there and just keep attacking things. You'll hit them from pretty decently long range. They kind of go pretty much very far across the screen, and you might as well just keep constantly always be hitting the attack button. Once you are pretty much strong enough to level up and just destroy things much faster, getting rid of some enemies that were just like right in your face constantly, it's definitely just going to be much easier to deal with. So might as well just do that and just keep attacking. Right up here, we have a red flashing enemy. You want to get rid of them because whenever you see red flashing enemies, they may unlock something if you were to get rid of all of them. In this case, it's going to unlock this chest right here. There we go. And we're just going to do this and grab a Celcedon Panacea. Celcedon Panaceas, when you use them, your HP will go up by some minuscule amounts. It's not like anything too big, but the stats in this game are a little bit weird like that. It's like, oh, hey, I have 65 now. I use it and I get 68. This number varies depending on what your difficulty you're on when you use the item. But either way, just use them when you get them. Any little amount of HP is still more HP to have. I mentioned the purple gems earlier that the enemies drop, but they also drop other things. They drop these red, blue, and yellow little potion gem things. It's kind of hard to tell because they're kind of really small on the screen. But the red ones increase your attack, the blue ones increase your defense, and the yellow ones increase your MP regeneration. They go away after a little bit, but the more of them you pick up, the more buffs you get over time. The experience goes up for every hit you do, which with Hugo, you just spamming the attack, you're going to get a lot of experience really quickly because it's going to go up to nearly twice as much experience. So you'll level up pretty decently fast with Hugo. But yeah, now we got rid of those enemies over here. We unlocked a little thing on this little pedestal right over here. So, strange. This appears to be one of the sacred artifacts of Ys. But why is it here? Either way, it's better off with me than it is with the demons. Acquired Cerulean Flabellum. A surge of power bursts forth from the artifact. Hugo is granted the use of the Force Shield skill. Skills are activated by pressing the right face button, or in this case, A. In this case, we just got the Force Shield, which is a wind-based element. There is fire as well as thunder, and depending on what you use them on, you're able to actually access a little bit more of this place as you go along. But enemies also have weaknesses. If your attack isn't cutting it, try using one of these skills. You might be able to do more damage over your basic attack. Like if you use the wind-based one, you might do more damage versus the fire one, so on and so forth. Force Shield. Hugo's Force Shield encases him in a buoyant bubble of protective energy. The Force Shield, we use it by pressing the right face button, or in this case, A for me. It'll give us a little bit of a protective barrier that lasts one hit, but it also allows us to float slowly down when we jump, so we get a little bit of a glide. It's kind of nice to have because it allows us to cover a little bit more distances, but once we find an emerald, we'll be able to charge it by holding down the right face button. It'll last a little bit longer than the standard Force Shield, and it'll allow us to withstand more hits, which is kind of nice to have. Impressive. I wasn't expecting it to hold so much power. Perhaps this contraption was built to harness that power in some way, or siphon it. I doubt it's the only one of its kind here. I'll have to keep my eyes open for any others. It's kind of nice having a character that's a little bit more like book smart in a sense, actually narrating like the situation as well compared to Unica, because Unica pretty much has like the reactionary content to it, and Hugo kind of like has ideas of what's going on. So you kind of get multiple sides of the story, and the fact that since Hugo is kind of an impatient character compared to Unica, we definitely have different like interactions with the characters that we already met. It's kind of neat to actually see two sides of like a similar story, but the progression through the tower is mostly the linear same path. So again, like I just did with Unica in the last episode, all I really had to do was just hit this button right over here, and it pretty much just raised the platforms. It's the same deal. As you can tell by the episode titles, this is still episode 1. It's just Hugo's episode 1. It's just because of the fact that there's multiple stories to this game. I rather layer them as such. It makes it a little bit more sense that way. Either way, I'm just going to continue forward. I'm just going to keep attacking this thing. I know I really don't need to be standing next to enemies, but sometimes I'd rather just spam the button. But yeah, let's check out the force shield skill in action. Just use it, and then I can jump, and then whee! It stays active a lot longer, but it just goes away after a little bit. When you notice your MP gauge starting to go back up after using it, then it's gonna go away after a little bit. So like it uses a lot, but it lasts much longer. This is definitely a different ability compared to Unica's where you just kind of spam it. So yeah, I just activate it, I get a little bit of a shield, and honestly it is very useful considering you don't want things going up in your face as Hugo, because again, he's kind of a ranged attacker. You definitely don't want to be up in everyone's face and just taking damage. So there we go. All right, this door right over here. It's locked up tight. It won't open up without a key. So we're gonna need to find a key. Honestly, it's pretty easy to find the key. We just keep going this way. Again, linear progression. It's not too hard to find where things are at. So just keep that in mind. We're just gonna pretty much explore this tower as is. It's not exactly hard to know where to go. It's linear after all. I just do like how the first section of this tower feels familiar if you played through Ys 1. I mean, just the layout anyway. I mean, like the designs, I should say. It's different, but I attribute that to Adol writing a book. But yeah, we have a little bit of a trap right over here, so if we just walk right into it. What the? Where am I? Must have been a teleport trap. Can't believe I walked right into it. The fact that the trap was even set at all means... No, there's no sense dwelling on it. I just need to make my way back to that room and find some means of countering the spell long enough to get through. I love that Hugo is actually smart because he kind of gives you the hints to figure things out by himself, but you still have the option to use the Lila shell to figure things out. Hugo spoke into the Lila shell, and Aeolia's voice echoed back in response. Hugo, is everything all right? Hugo told Aeolia that he'd been transported to another room. A teleport trap? From what you described, it sounds like the crux of the matter is the pulling force of the vortex in the center of the room. Give me some time to think about it, and I'll see what I can come up with. In the meantime, you might as well keep on exploring. Yeah, the hints are pretty much mostly the exact same. It's just like slight differences because of character names and stuff like that. There we go. All right, before we continue on, it looks like we need to actually get something right over here. There's a peculiarly shaped depression in the altar. So it looks like we need to find something to put in it. So next time Azure plays more Ys Origin, let's go find that object, shall we? I'll see y'all then.